that is just a recipe for disaster, especially one-off electronics that is quite difficult to get manufactured again, and when the people repairing it are volunteers. So and even though we had a lot of, we have standard engineering problems with our kits and stuff, the teams really still managed to build things with it that are quite cool. And this is by far our favourite robot, even though it was actually quite poor at doing the challenge. The challenge in last year was to pick up the red cubes. The blue ones gave you negative points, and the red ones gave you positive points. And the idea was to just get them in your robot by the end of the game. And so this robot has two pincers on the front of it, and it tries to grab the token, lift it over its head, and let go of it so it drops into the bucket behind it, with extremely varied success. And hopefully, I've got a very, very short video which might work. We'll see. And if you can see that. But this robot is entirely autonomous. So what it's doing is... And unfortunately, I don't have a video of the best bits where, it just manages to get the red block, lifts it up, lets go, but then it falls forwards. And the whole crowd in the room, even though they were on other teams and stuff, were fully behind this robot. And they were trying to get it to just will it to get this red block behind it. But try as it might, I think it got a few. It was in the final.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And so even though we've so with our kit we could build things that worked, and but Kit 2, which we're in the process of shipping now, is based on the BeagleBoard, which some of you might have heard of, which is a open hardware project run by TI, which has got a ARM A8 in it, which is the same processor as in N900s, and it's pretty good. It's got quite a lot of RAM, it's got quite a lot of flash, it's got USB, and crucially for us, it's got video out, and it's reasonably cheap. So a lot of you will be familiar with this device, which is PSP. This year is the first year that we're giving the students a display in the kit, and that's the one from the PSP. And we've got this nice shiny sort of, we call it the power board. It's really sort of the motherboard of the robot. And it's got the display from the PSP in it, connected to the BeagleBoard, which is on the underside, and it sort of does battery management and stuff for the robot. And you can play Doom on it, which is by far the most important use of it. We've got other things, other bits of the kit, so that you can interface with the real world. You've got a motor controller. There's a joint I/O board for digital input and outputs, analog input, things like that, and a currently in prototyping board for controlling servos and things. But most of the sensory input from these robots comes from a webcam. That robot you saw just now knew where the red block was because it could see it. And that's something that our volunteers / uni students have done some work on to make sure that we have a vision system that's kind of simple enough to use for someone who's never programmed before, to be able to find a red blob in a big white space. And they do their programming in Python, although we're kind of looking to see if we can give them more options in that space. And at the moment they do programming with a USB key. They go between machines with a USB key. They plug the USB key into their PC, into a web-based app, and they click export, put it on the USB key, stick it in their robot, and it runs. And crucially, the students have access to all of the designs of all of the kit that we give them for free. We give them the kit for free, and we give them the designs for free, and we give them all of our guidance for free. And we use GEDA, which is an open source toolchain for doing electronics design. And we've got various other interesting bits of stuff to do with managing API-less distributors of electronic components. And that's a project that we're probably going to work on a bit more and hopefully bottle up into a more friendly form for people outside our project to use. And we use QCAD for sort of 2D CAD type things. If you're interested, you can get all of our source at git.srobo.org. We have quite a few, because we're sort of a bunch of hackers, we're doing things that aren't necessarily completely applicable to teams right now. The BeagleBoard's got a DSP in it, but it lacks a free compiler. And my good friend Jeremy Morse has done quite a lot of work in the last year to write a backend for LLVM, which is a compiler framework, to extend it for this DSP, which is quite interesting. In approximately 3 months, he wrote this backend and extended bin utils and so on to do this on his own in his spare time whilst doing a degree. I think TI have just kind of started funding a group of people to extend GCC to do a similar thing, and I don't know if they've got there yet. They're being paid. We used to have meetings as a group, but these were really dull and boring, so we got rid of them. Don't have meetings. We replaced them with something we call doings, in which we do things rather than talk about doing things. And it's essentially, we have a room in the University of Southampton which is essentially kind of like a hackerspace for 6 hours of the week. It's, instead of being open 24/7, it's open 6/1. And I recommend doing that. So just to wrap up, I think the thing that I kind of see is there's this massive step change that we present people with in reality. They go from school to the real world suddenly like that, and that doesn't really help anyone. I think that we really need to push engineering to younger people, and I think that you guys can help do that. If you want to get involved with anything, be it the hardware, the software, or running a team, please come and have a chat with me. These are some of the people who have been involved. There's more people than I could fit on the slide, so I'm sorry if I haven't got your name there. And yes, thanks for listening. Cheers.
Thank you so much, Rob. Are there any questions? Please raise your hand, and we'll make sure a microphone is coming your way. Over there.
Hey, that was awesome, especially when you talk about education and Ken Robinson and kind of linking the whole thing. Actually, when I was in college, I hated it, really, because it was a lot of rote learning in computer science and stuff, and I always used to hate it. And right now I'm involved with a hackerspace in Ireland, and it's amazing. But what's the biggest challenge you face in kind of growing up the community and getting students involved? Like, how did you pitch it for universities, for sponsors, for...
Yeah, that's an important question. And it's becoming increasingly important as we grow. The thing is targeting it to university students is a different challenge to targeting it to sixth formers, which is a different challenge to targeting it to teachers, which is a different challenge to targeting it to sponsors as well. And being a voluntary group who mainly, most of us want to spend our time working on software and hardware and hacking, but we still have to, and what I'm beginning to realize is that I have to spend more of my time working on sort of encouraging people to get involved in our group. through various means. And at the university, we've tried various approaches. Like we give some talks at the university about things that we use, like tools. Like I give it's turning into an annual talk about using sort of Git, the version control system, and we have a few other talks, hopefully around that kind of thing. And that makes just great, generally raises awareness about us. I think that's probably the best thing that we can do, is just gradually raise awareness and do the occasional sort of PR stunt. Does that answer your question?
Yes, any other questions? Yes, over there.
Hi, I'm teaching robotics at the Technical High School in Vienna, and I absolutely agree that this is a very nice way to get pupils in touch with hacking technology. But what I'd like to tell you was, have you known that there is a whole conference just about robotics in education? You should present your project there.
Which one?
It was this year in Bratislava, and next year it is in Vienna. It's called Robotics in Education 2011.
No, I wasn't aware of that. We'll have to go.
Yeah, and I can give you the URL afterwards. And,
awesome, please do.
Yeah, you should really present it there because it's such a wonderful project.
Thank you.
Any more questions over there?
Hello. Just a question. Here you just tell how you want to raise the interest or the creativity of the people. How do you get the people to join the project? I had the expression that most people are bored by technique. I'm working at a technical university, and I know this strange, but
I think it's a chicken and egg problem, because we have people growing up in education, who aren't really aware of technology or of the things that you can do with technology. They're only at a consumer level, they kind of know what they can do, but they don't know how to hack. And we really want to recruit hackers, and that means that we have to create the hackers that we want to recruit. And yeah, it's cyclical, and we just kind of have to hack away gradually, I think, until we get to a point where maybe, hopefully, we don't have to do it as much, or at least we're doing it to a sufficient degree that there are those people around, and interest in technology and hacking.
Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough. So how, where do you find the people? How do you talk to them? Hey, come to us and join us. And how do you address the people that are not very interested at that time?
The university students or the sixth formers?
Everyone.
Well, with the sixth formers, it's generally through their teachers and through their schools. By building up relationships with the schools, we find, and you kind of have to look at each school kind of individually, and because they each have their own way of going about things, and some find it easiest to like have registers and things like that, and just putting a flyer in each of the registers kind of gets people to know about it a bit, and some people will join just from that, but then people will join through their friends, and that's actually how I joined the robotics group at the college I went to. I didn't want to join it at first, and then my friends nagged me until I did. So I think, friends is a good one, and at university, it's pretty much the same. Again, it's raising awareness, and at the moment in the university, we kind of find the people who have already got most of the skills that we need, which is difficult, considering they've just come through. They've basically just come out of the education that Our target audience of competitors